Hey, this is John from ROHworld.com, and we're just over a day away now from Death Before Dishonor IX, where the third ever ladder war is taking place between the Briscoes and the All Night Express. So I decided to take a look back at the past and review the show where the first ever ladder war took place, which was Man Up. Man Up was a pay-per-view, but I had the DVD obviously, which has a few extra matches, but I'm just going to review the DVD portion of the show. And it was a great show, very, very great show. And it started off with a four-corner survival match between Chris Hero, Naomichi Marufuji, Nigel McGuinness, and Claudio Castagnoli. And one thing I really liked about this show was that before each match, they listed the goals of each wrestler for that match. For example, Chris Heroes was to prove he's the best athlete. Marufuji's was to try to make a name for herself in America. McGuinness was to try to prove he's worthy of a title shot, and Castagnoli's was to just get his hands on Hero. And that's something that I wish Ring of Honor would do more. I know they did at the beginning of the HDNet series, and I hope they bring it back when they start airing the Sinclair broadcast show. And this match was a great opener, fantastic opener. It was a lot of fun, really fast paced, just crazy high spots the entire time, just nonstop action from bell to bell. And there's a spot where Castagnoli and Hero are out fighting in the crowd, and McGuinness climbed the top rope and just dove out onto him, and it was just insane. It was just great. And yeah, I'll give it 3 3/4 stars. Next up, there was a best of three series match between the No Remorse Corps of Roderick Strong, Davey Richards, and Rocky Romero versus the Resilience of Austin Aries, Matt Cross, and Eric Stevens. I always forget Eric Stevens for some reason. And this was good. I liked it. It started off, the first match was Rocky Romero versus Matt Cross. It wasn't that long. They just did what you'd expect them to do. Matt Cross did all his gymnastics moves, and Rocky Romero used the strikes. And in the end, Rocky Romero pulled out the victory. I'd give it 2.5 stars. It wasn't long enough to really be anything great, but I figured if they give him enough time, it would be a very, very good match. Next up was Davey Richards versus Austin Aries, and this was really good. It's what you expect out of these two, just counter after counter after counter, and in the end, Austin Aries picked up the victory with the Brainbuster 450 splash combination. I'd give this 3.5, 3 3/4 stars, somewhere through there. But yeah, that was really good. And finally, the last match of the best of three was Eric Stevens versus Roderick Strong. And this is, again, what you expect out of these two. Just them out there just beating the crap out of each other, basically. And it was just great. It was just so much fun to just watch them beat the crap out of each other. And I'll give this 3 3/4 stars as well. I mean, there, if you when you put those two in the ring together, it there's just nothing but good things that happen, basically. The next match was the Ring of Honor World Title match between Takeshi Morishima defending against the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. And Danielson a few weeks ago had his retina detached by Morishima, so he was wearing an eye patch for this match. And the whole story was that Morishima had promised not to attack the eye, and the entire time he didn't. He just attacked with the side of the head or the face, but he just left that eye alone, which was giving Danielson the opportunity to lock in a submission or hit a strike that just caught Morishima out of nowhere and came close to ending the match for him. And there's a lot of cool little moves, like Danielson came off the top and Morishima caught him into a power bomb, but Danielson turned it into a triangle choke. And then another time Danielson had a triangle choke and Morishima power bombed him to get out of it. Just a lot of, it was basically Danielson's submission ability versus Morishima's power and size, and it worked brilliantly. It was a fantastic match, and in the end, Morishima finally got fed up with him and just started pounding on his eye, just beating the crap out of him again. And Danielson came unconscious, and the referee called for the bell, and then he won, and Morishima retained by knockout. And it was a great match. I'd give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it a lot. And finally, the last match was for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team title. It was the Briscoe brothers defending against Kevin Steen and El Generico in the ladder war. This was chaos. This was great. This was everything you expect a ladder match to be. I mean, it started off with the two teams just brawling through the crowd. And one thing I found funny about this was that then student, probably, I guess he was still a student at the time, Rhett Titus, was helping keep control and keep the crowd out of the action. I just found it funny how far he's come. Not really that long a time. It's only been about what, 4 years since this show. He's gone from being, just a ring crew to challenging for the titles in just 4 years. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, they start off just brawling through the crowd, and there's this brutal spot after brutal spot. I was just cringing like the entire match. I was just like, ugh, and ugh. Like, I don't know how these people are walking after this match. Like, one point, the Briscoes hit their double hip toss onto Generico through a ladder, bit the ladder in half. So they went out and got a bigger ladder from under the ring. And I think it was Jay Briscoe climbed the ladder, and Steen pushed him off into the ladder that Generico already bent and just broke that ladder in half. Steen took a really awkward tumble, fall off the ladder. Generico got pushed into the ladder, and Steen looked like he fell right on his face from like near the top. They had a ladder set up like on its side, like it usually sits like this, like standing, but it was like that. And Steen got hit with the Death Valley driver on it, just so brutal looking, just insane. What else was there? I'm trying to remember because there's just so much insanity this entire match, just nonstop, just bam, 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 bam. Like, it was just so much fun to watch. Like, I was just going crazy watching it here. Um, Mark Briscoe had Generico down, set the ladder on top of him, on top of Generico, and hit a shooting star press onto the ladder, onto Generico. Uh, they realized that the ladders they had weren't big enough to reach the belts, so they had the crowd actually surf a big, like, industrial ladder up to the ringside area, which was probably a 25 foot ladder, and it was crazy. And at the end, they had the big ladder set up in the middle, and they had a smaller ladders horizontally set up from that ladder into two turnbuckles. And on one side, Steen hit the package pile driver through a ladder, and on the other side, Jay Briscoe hit the J driller onto Generico through the ladder. And at the end, it was Jay and Kevin Steen battling at the top for the belts, and Jay Briscoe knocked him off and went to grab the belts, but he couldn't get it unhitched. It was like Jack Swagger at WrestleMania 26, I think. He just couldn't get it undone, and Razak was freaking out, saying that they don't get it undone, they can't win. So Briscoe's just up there like, what am I supposed to do? So Steen went to try to get back up, and Briscoe finally knocked him down again and finally got the belts unhooked, and he like had this look on his face like, I did it, and I found that really funny. And yeah, it was just a great match. I give it 4.5, one of my favorite ladder matches I think I've seen in a long time. I mean, they just went out there and just killed each other for like 20, 25 minutes, like just non-stop. And after the match, a group of like masked men ran down to the ringside, like started pounding on the guardrail, and Tyler Black and Jimmy Jacobs ran out from the crowd. And it was the debut of the Age of the Fall, which is one of my favorite actually stables of all time. And when the Briscoes were looking at them two, Necro Butcher and Lacey ran out from the back, and Necro Butcher had barbed wire wrapped around his fist, and they just beat the crap out of the Briscoes, and they hung, I think it was Mark Briscoe, up by his feet where the ladder was, and the show ended that way. But I think it was on the I can't remember if it was a bonus feature or during the newswire they had on this DVD, but they had the whole speech that Jimmy Jacobs gave while he was standing under Mark Briscoe, who was just bleeding down on him. He was covered in Mark Briscoe's blood, and he was talking about the Age of the Fall and like what they're planning on doing. It was the creepiest, like one of the creepiest visuals I've ever seen. Just Jimmy Jacobs just covered in blood. Just it was just awesome. But yeah, this was a fantastic show, great show. I would give it 8.5, 9 out of 10. Like, just, you have to see, if you're a Ring of Honor fan, you just have to see this show. It's just one of those shows. Just go out of your way to see. Like, you won't be disappointed, I guarantee it. So, like I said, the Four Corner Survival match was good, was great. The best of 3 series, while two out of those 3 matches was very, very good. The first one was fun, but not really any substance. The title match was very, very good, and the ladder match was just chaos. I mean, it was just great. So definitely check this show out if you haven't seen it. And I'll have a preview up of Death Before Dishonor 9 Friday, hopefully. If not, it'll be Saturday morning at the latest. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this review. I'll talk to y'all later.